Hello all viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel Essence of Delight. This channel is created with lot of enthusiasm for the lovers of English language and literature. I hope you enjoy. Give likes as many times as you wish and don't forget to press the subscribe button below. And also please click the bell icon beside that so that you can get notification whenever a new video is uploaded. Please share the video to everyone, as many people as you can, and be supportive. Thank you. So let's get started with our model today, and here it is. Welcome to our module today. Today we will take up this poem, beautiful poem by Wordsworth, composed upon Westminster Bridge, and especially students of class 11, pay attention. As for the historical aspect of the poem and its background, we have already discussed in the general introduction part. Today, we will read out the poem and try to understand the different aspects of the poem, take the journey along with the poet. So let's begin. Earth has not anything to show more fair. The very opening line of the poem is filled with such ecstasy, such joy, such fulfillment. We must not miss the spirit of the poet in the very opening line, where he actually opens up a panorama, a stretched scape. Earth has not anything to show more fair. It's probably we can take as an hyperbole This is a figure of speech which the poets often use to express their feelings, their likeness or dislikeness for anything in a magnitude, something enormous. So here the poet makes an assertion that earth has not anything to show more fair at that present moment when he was witnessing, which aroused that feeling in him. It was like the best ever scene he had witnessed. Then he makes an assertion, dull would he be of soul who could pass by. Well, he does not only praises, he also marks a note of warning that these views that he is witnessing are not very often witnessed. And a person with a sense, rather to say with a sensibility and a sensitiveness, would not miss this chance to enjoy as he has not. Earth has not anything to show more fair, dull would he be of soul who could pass by. If someone goes just without noticing this, then it can be assumed that the person is devoid of any feeling or sensibility. A sight so touching in its majesty. In the third line, the poet actually explains everything, why he is of this opinion. A sight so touching in its majesty. There is a sight before his eyes. It touches his heart, his senses, and the main element, the main object of that sight is its majesty. It's so grand. This city now doth like a garment wear the beauty of the morning. This city, first time we get a mention, and the city of London. Remember the Westminster Bridge over the River Thames, connecting both sides, Westminster on one part and Albert on the other. From there, he witnessed the same London he has been watching for a long time. But today, it is absolutely different. This city, the city of London, now doth. Here, doth is a word that might be unfamiliar to you. It is what we call does in our present day time. And this expression is known as archaic expression. That is a word that was used in old days in English language, now obsolete, not used in regular usage, but the poets, for their love for those expressions and using them appropriately in the poem, brings them back once in a while in their poem. Here Wordsworth takes that liberty of the poet, where he introduces this word doth, which today we can understand as does. So we can read this in this way: this city now does like a garment wear the beauty of the morning. Now, wearing garments is what we call an imagery. Garment, clothes that we put on. Here, the morning seems to be like a very fine veil, a transparent fine veil that is spread over the entire city. And thereby it appears like the city is wearing a garment, and the garment of the morning, the beauty of the morning. And how is this beauty of the morning produced? Two words, one by one, very eloquent: silent, bare. Silent, you know, absence of noise, and bare, absence of people or anything that is roaming around, traffic. So at that early hour of the day, not the regular life of London that is so busy, very bustling, throbbing with sounds and motions of traffic on one hand and people on the other. It was not there. The day was just initiating. It has not begun in its full force at that time. And it was silent because of the same reason, that here the silence is of the chaos that one might face, the sounds that one might face when there is a congestion, many people around, traffic's moving here. So this is the source of beauty of the morning. But in the very next line, he gives a list of items: ships, towers, domes, theatres, and temples lie. Well, the place has not gone vacant, not empty. All the permanent constructions and permanent perennial elements are there. The ships now standing on the bank, the towers, the domes, the theatres and temples. Every monument, block and construction is there. But none of them seems to be alive or at least awake. Where do they lie? Up open unto the fields and to the sky. They are standing on the earth, that is mentioned here as fields, and residing below the earth. As we know that planet Earth on its surface holds our habitat. So it is clear that two surfaces that is actually holding or encompassing the entire site is the earth below and the sky above. All bright and glittering in the smokeless air. At this present moment, the poet says, when he is watching, everything is visible in its own aspect. Glittering. It's like more vibrant, more splendorous, and there is no smoke in the air. As we know that London is a busy town with factories all around, and smokes come from the factories when it is on, but the regular life has not yet begun in its full throbbing. So we can understand a purity, a virginity of the atmosphere, that which appalls the poet. Now we finish reading the first 8 lines. Remember, we just spoke of the sonnet structure. The sonnet, a form of poem that composes 14 lines. And this comprising 14 lines in its orthodox structure is divided into 2 parts. The first 8 lines that we call octave, I would write here, of first 8 lines, and the remaining part is called the Cested, the second 6 lines, and both of these combine into 14 lines of poem. And there is another term you must know, that is volta. What is volta? Well, before exploring this, we would like to read the Cested part. Never did sun more beautifully steep in his first splendor. Well, sunrise is a phenomenon rather to say, that everyone loves to enjoy, whether in his own place or someplace else where he or she visits. And the first light of the sun appearing after the darkness is over, it is a delight to experience. What the poet says is that this first splendor, it is to him as never seen before. Then he again, in a manner of series of phrases, valley, rock or hill. As we know, Wordsworth was a great lover of nature and used to roam here and there alone. So he have gone to many places and have witnessed sunrise from there. But even in the most solitude places like valley, rock or hill, where the landscape is so beautiful, seems to faint before this landscape, that is the city of London. Never saw never felt a calm so deep. This is the first time the poet assumes a subjective tone where he speaks of himself. Never saw I, never felt a calm so deep. I had been running here and there to many places to run away from this din and bustle of city life. But witnessing that very city at this early hour of the day surprises the poet. And the first never is in contracted form, it is never. Never saw, I never felt a calm so deep. The feeling of so calmness, serenity, peace. It is very outstanding, it is very new. The river glideth at his own sweet will. Here, like doth, glideth, actually glides. The same thing. The archaic English of old days, poetical liberty to use them to decorate their poem. The river glideth at its own sweet will. Which is the river? The river is Thames. It glides. Glides means like floats freely. Gliding is actually associated with the term floating in the air. But here the water seems to become light as water, and it is freely flowing without any noise, without any hurry, without any hurly-burly going on, because we know that River Thames is also used for transportation for small ships and other boats. A ferry service is there. So when the day begins and the regular affair starts, it will be very much noisy, very much carousing everywhere. Now the river Thames glides, that means flows freely at his own sweet will. This phrase, at its own sweet will, this own, that is of itself, sweet, a sense of lovingness, will. What is will? Will is that what I like to do, my own likes and dislikes. Here, the river seems to be free and liberated from the daily course of commercial purpose, where boats and ferries, they travel along the river transporting people, transporting goods. Now no one is there to disturb. So at its own sweet will. And the Thames, the river, is attributed with a pronoun his. This is something to note, that in our country we usually attribute rivers as the feminine part of nature. Nature by Wordsworth is also devoid of any such gender bias, and one of its elements, a river, the river Thames especially here, it is attributed with the pronoun his, and it's not for gender implication, but rather it's spontaneous. Then comes an invocation What is invocation? Invocation is invoking to a superior spirit. And the invocation comes, dear God, the supreme creator of this entire thing. The very houses seem asleep. See how material objects are being personified. In the octave part we have seen that ships, towers, domes, theatres and temples lie. That is, like the living object, they are capable to move. Now they are lying. Prior to that, the city wears a garment, and here now the very houses seem asleep. Again, another term, personify. What does the poet do here? He personifies the material object as living objects. And the very houses seem asleep, they are not yet awakened. Actually, this is a transfer epithet, where asleep actually belongs to the people residing in those houses. They are asleep. But that attribute, asleep of the people, is transferred to the houses. And the final concluding line of this composition, and all that mighty heart, again it refers to the city of London. All that mighty heart is lying still. Moving at the early hour in a horse-drawn carriage towards Dover, the poet, accompanied by his sister Dorothy Wordsworth, witnesses this ecstatic scene, which he himself asserts, expresses that it is a completely new experience to him. And the poem, as the title suggests, dates back to the early 19th century. Whether he has witnessed it a long before or in the same time, we don't know, because Wordsworth is also found to be a poet with a his own kind of composing poems that we call recollection of tranquility in solitude. He witnesses something, enjoys with full nerve everything, and stores those rich emotions in his heart, in his memory. And sometimes later, he composes the poem on the emotions and experiences gathered therearound. So, this is about reading the poem upon Westminster Bridge, its structure, the important aspects, and there is one thing that students should always take the textbook with them, read it, and it would be better if you follow the video and have a textbook with them. Anyway, if you have liked the video, please give a like and don't forget to subscribe and share. Please be supportive. And if you have anything further to ask or to give a suggestion, please write in the comment box, and be careful about the decency of your comments. That's all for now. As I upload new videos, you will be updated if you subscribe the channel. Until next time we meet, stay safe and stay fit. Thank you.